and this year coordinator of YouthIGF Afghanistan. I'm so glad to moderate this session today. Before introducing our honorable speakers, I would like to share some information about YouthIGF Afghanistan and its program in Afghanistan for those who are newly participated this year in this event. YouthIGFA's journey began at the Youth in Internet Governance workshop during Afghanistan first national IGF in 2017. The workshop received significant recognition not only from the youth, but also from key stakeholders. YouthIGFA envisions a youth-powered digital transformation for Afghanistan, and the mission is to empower Afghan youth in shaping the future of Internet through meaningful participation and inclusion in governance decisions. Again, after 2 years, we are happily organized this online edition to bring Afghan youth together. I just checked that some of our speakers are still not online, but I will keep checking if all of our speakers are online. For our participants, I have to say that we have also Q&A at the end of the session, so kindly note your questions and ask them at the end of the session or write them in our chat box so our speakers will answer them all at the end of the session. We have to not forget, we will also take a group photo at the end of the session, which I think Mr. Nick Bean or Shirzad Saib will take care of it. I'm just checking if two of our speakers are still here. So we could start with introducing our speakers. Great, so we have all of our speakers right now. They're all online. I would like to introduce our all speakers in this session. We have Ms. Saba, founder of YouthIGF Ethiopia and also representative of Africa and Middle East at APAC. We have also Anja Gengo from UN Secretariat for Internet Governance Forum. Also Mr. Adli Wahid, Senior Internet Security Specialist at APNIC. We have also Mr. Omar Ansari from APNIC Foundation. And also Mohibullah Utmankhil, AFNOG Coordinator. At the end, we have also Ms. Phyo Thiri Wlin, Committee Member, Myanmar YouthIGF, and also member at APAC YouthIGF. At the beginning, I would like to invite Ms. Saba Tiku to introduce herself for our participants and also keep her presentation on visioning the Internet in 10 to 20 years and insight into the perspective, changes, challenges, and opportunities. Ms. Saba Tiku, the floor is yours. If you could share your presentation.
Thank you very much, Sajia. I hope I'm audible. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, distinguished guests and colleagues, and also my fellow young leaders. Honored to be here today at this remarkable event of the Afghanistan Youth IGF. Just to introduce myself, my name is Saba, and I'm a member of the UN IGF Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Group, and also a representative of Africa and Middle East at the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance, or the YCIG, and also the founder and coordinator of the YouthIGF Ethiopia. So I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers of the Afghanistan YouthIGF for extending this invitation and giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts with all of you. Okay. Yeah, so today, as we all gather here, we all find ourselves at a critical juncture in the evolution of the internet. You know, the internet has transformed the way we live, the way we work, the way we connect with one another, and it also continues to shape our future in profound ways. So the topic I've been given, visioning the internet in 10 to 20 years, which is an insight into a perspective, changes, challenges, and also the opportunities, is both timely and also thought-provoking. As we stand at the threshold of the next decade, we all know that the internet is poised to undergo a profound transformation, driven by the relentless pace of technology advancement, and also the ever-evolving needs of a digitally connected world. So let us delve a bit into the real possibilities, and also let's explore about the prospective changes that lie ahead. So in the next 10 to 20 years, we can expect a hyper-connected world where the internet will permeate every aspect of our lives. For example, universal connectivity will extend beyond our devices, seamlessly integrating into our physical surroundings. And you can imagine cities where every street lamp is a Wi-Fi hotspot, a home where every appliance is connected, and also cars that communicate with each other to enhance the safety and also the efficiency as a result of the IoT, or Internet of Things. The internet will also transcend the boundaries of screens, creating an immersive experiences that blur the line between the digital and also the physical world as well. If we take the augmented reality and virtual reality will become a commonplace, allowing us to explore virtual landscapes, allowing us to interact with holograms, and also allowing us to experience education and entertainment in ways we never imagined before. Artificial intelligence will also permeate every aspect of our digital lives, enhancing decision-making, automating tasks, and providing personalized experiences as well. It will play a very important role in revolutionizing industries, as well as augmenting human capabilities. So we must be prepared for the transformative impact of technologies like blockchain, and also quantum computing as well. Data will also become a cornerstone of informed decision-making, empowering governments and organizations to make a data-driven policies, and also optimize resource allocation. However, this will also necessitate a robust data governance frameworks to protect privacy and also ensure the responsible data usage. So amidst the promises of this increasingly interconnected future, we also must acknowledge the challenges that lie ahead. And these challenges demand our attention as well as our proactive engagement to ensure that the internet remains a force for good. If we take, for example, the digital divide, it's a gap between with and without access to the internet, and it remains a persistent challenge. We must strive to connect the unconnected, ensuring that the benefits of the internet reach every corner of the globe. As our resilience on internet also deepens, so do the cybersecurity threats that we face. And we must also prioritize cybersecurity, developing a robust defense against cyber attacks, and also fostering a culture of cybersecurity awareness. The rise of AI and also other emerging technologies also raise ethical concerns, around privacy and also some kind of job displacement as well. So we also must establish an ethical framework in order to guide the development and deployment of this technology, ensuring that they benefit society without compromising the fundamental rights. The internet's transformative power as a whole is only realized when individuals possess the digital literacy and also skills, the digital skills, in order to navigate it effectively. So we have to invest in education, we have to invest in training programs in order to equip individuals with the skills they need to thrive in the digital age. So amidst these challenges, these changes, there are also immense opportunities that await us. As young leaders, we play a pivotal role in shaping the future of the internet. We are the driving force behind innovation, we are the advocates for equity and also inclusion, and the architects of a sustainable and ethical digital future. We can become internet champions by engaging in internet governance discussion like this at the national, at the regional, and also at the global level, advocating and contributing to the development of norms and standards for responsible and also for an inclusive internet. We can empower communities through digital literacy by sharing our knowledge, by sharing our skills with others, by organizing workshops, training programs, and bridging the divide, the digital divide, by empowering communities to harness the internet's potential. Sorry. We can also foster a global collaboration by collaborating with young leaders from around the world, by sharing our innovative ideas, and by building a global network of youth advocates for a better internet future. It's also very essential for governments, for civil society, for the technical community, and for the private sector to work together, for all the stakeholder groups in shaping policies, in building infrastructure, and also in fostering a digital environment. We can harness technology for social good by utilizing technology to address a key critical social challenges, by developing innovative solutions for a sustainable development, and promote peace, promote understanding, and promote tolerance through digital platforms. So envisioning the internet in the next 10 to 20 years requires us to be forward thinking. It requires us to be adaptable and inclusive. So let's all embrace the potential that lie before us, and let's all work together to create an internet that's open, that's secure, accessible, and beneficial for all of us, so that we can ensure that the internet remains a powerful force for positive change, connecting us across borders and unlocking boundless possibilities and opportunities. So as young leaders, we have a power to shape this future. So I would like to say, let's all grab into these opportunities before us. Let's all engage in internet governance discussion like this one today. Let's empower our communities, and also let's foster global collaboration and utilize technology for social good. Thank you once again, and I will now give the floor to the moderator.
Thank you very much for your very informative presentation and your speech. As you mentioned, there are honestly many changes, chances and challenges with internet, but there is also opportunities for us as a young generation to use from these opportunities to make a better world for everyone. Thank you very much. Friends, you may have some questions. Please note your questions and we will ask them all at the end of the session. Now I would like to invite Ms. Anja Gengo to give the stage for her to present her presentation on basic of internet governance and multi-stakeholders participation. Ms. Anja, if you're there.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much, Sajia, and hello to everyone. It's a great pleasure to join you on the occasion of the Youth Afghanistan IGF. At the beginning, on behalf of the IGF Secretariat, I would like to congratulate the Multi-Stakeholder Organizing Committee, your Secretariat, ISOC Afghanistan. Sajia, of course, thank you very much for moderating this session. Thank you for bringing us all together after a few years and after a very challenging period for all of you and all of the people of Afghanistan, regardless if you are in the country or outside. It's just wonderful to reconvene again and address some of the most important digital public policy issues. I think Saba sent a very nice motivating message on the importance of young people to internet governance, digital governance discourse, and I don't need to further underline that, but I would like to focus now on the practical ways of youth engagement in internet governance and how young people can really make a change through the existing mechanisms. So allow me to start from the concept of internet governance and the Internet Governance Forum in the next couple of minutes to tell you pragmatically how can you be part of global discussion processes, and with that impacting and influencing the decision-making processes from a value perspective, first of all. So if we could go to the next slide, please, Sajia. Well, the slides are not changing for me. I only see the cover slide. And I don't know if that's the case for other colleagues. Yes, now I can see it. Thank you. A little bit of history. I won't go deep into this quite complex history that is now more than 2 decades old, but what you need, I think, to know and to understand is the concept of the World Summit on the Information Society, WSIS, that emerged in late 90s, early 2000s as a United Nations concept through which all stakeholders could discuss matters pertaining to what we call at that time Internet Society. Today you will hear maybe more prevalent term, which is knowledge society, but essentially it comes to the same. It's technically people being informed, people working through using means of the internet for everyday activities. So in 2 phases, the WSIS was hosted in Tunisia and in Geneva. And at that time, internet was gaining more and more momentum, and the stakeholders called for its governance. And since it was such a new concept, including with the United Nations formed a group, a working group to define or describe what internet governance is. And this definition that you can see on a slide is a working level definition that was coined in 2000, and I believe by the WIGIG, this working group for internet governance, which had a multi-stakeholder composition. And it's something that's very much present today. We are working with that definition, and that is that the internet governance is the development and application by governments, the private sector, and civil society in their respective roles of shared principles, norms, rules, decision-making procedures, and programs that shape the evolution and use of the internet. Having that definition, very shortly after, the first Internet Governance Forum was hosted following its convening by the Secretary General of the United Nations at that time, which was Kofi Annan. So if we go to the next slide, I would like just to quickly speak about what the internet governance includes. And this is a slide that we borrowed from our friends at Phyo Foundation, and technically it really nicely illustrates the complexity of the issues and concepts, domains that fall under internet governance realm. You can see that there are various issues ranging from those associated with human rights to legal domain, to development domain, cybersecurity domain, social cultural domain, and so on. Of course, the concept of the infrastructure and standardization is a foundation, probably the most critical layer for all this, because without meaningful connectivity, without standards as such, we can't have a meaningful way to discuss internet governance issues. Going to the next slide, in terms of the, I believe, actors, no single entity has absolute control over the internet. That was the essence of the internet governance defined by the WIGIG that I've just introduced to you. And the concept since the beginning of internet governance with the United Nations was that the oversight and development of the internet is collectively managed by a range of participants through what we call a multi-stakeholder model, where we all have a say in equal manner. This, of course, includes the government, intergovernmental organizations, civil society organizations, businesses, and a very important layer, which is technical community. Next slide, please. Just to complement this slide that I've shared with you with Phyo, this is an overview of the key digital policy issues stemming from the latest annual IGF meeting that was hosted by the government of Japan in Kyoto. I won't go in details about this, but you can see that the momentum, really, the situation in the world very much dictates what is the bottom-up agenda of the IGF and what people want to discuss. So, for example, this year's IGF was very much dominated by matters related to governance of artificial intelligence, its regulation, but also about the concept to avoid internet fragmentation, to keep our online domain safe and secure. Data governance was, of course, central, cross-cutting all of our sub-teams. Questions related to access and connectivity, digital inclusion were also important, all the way to concepts of human rights and freedoms online, such as, for example, particularly discussing disinformation and misinformation online, but also concepts of jurisdiction online, access to information, freedom of expression, and so on. And then finally, the past couple of years, we've seen really a growing attention to matters related to sustainability and environment in terms of how can we regulate, for example, e-waste, how can we switch to circular economy, climate change, governance, and support through digital technologies, reducing digital footprint, and so on. Going to the next slide. And yes, this is something that I wanted to bring to your attention just because I think it's very much relevant. And Saba mentioned it when she introduced herself. How can you be part of the IGF? Well, let me firstly tell you what are the IGF's structure and working mechanisms. The heart of the IGF is its multi-stakeholder advisory group. It's a 40 members group that is tasked to advise the Secretary General of the United Nations on the program and agenda for the annual meeting. The MAG is appointed by the Secretary General following an open consultation process with the community where anyone can nominate anyone. Every year, the MAG is usually renewed for approximately 1/3 of its membership, like we did this year. for planning of the next year's meeting, which will be in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. And Saba is a member of the multi-stakeholder advisory group, and especially an important one because she has close linkages with many of the youth initiatives, and she runs a youth initiative. And she is a young person by the UN definition of the youth, and that's very important to us to have the voices of young people channeled into the really internal decision-making processes with the IGF. Since the last 2 years, the Secretary General of the UN has appointed the leadership panel as well, that is chaired by Mr. Vincent. And the leadership panel has a task to elevate the IGF, to make it more impactful, to translate its outputs to help decision-making and other types of processes. And everything is neutrally facilitated as a process by the IGF Secretariat, which is the office where I work, based at the United Nations office in Geneva. I said at the beginning, and also following the definition of Internet governance, that Internet Governance Forum, and as such, the Internet governance ecosystem, is really relates to a value-based framework for the way we address Internet governance and the way we want to govern the Internet. And that framework of values relates also to the core principles of the IGF, which means it's a multi-stakeholder forum, a process open to everyone. It's bottom-up, which means it's really for the people, and it follows the pulse of the community in all its procedures and processes, inclusive, transparent, and non-commercial. Moving to the next slide. So this whole structure is happening throughout the year. There are two major components of the IGF, which is relevant to people who would like to engage, and including, of course, many of the young people. And that is that there is the annual meeting of the IGF that is every year hosted by a different government. And in between the two annual meetings, everything that's happening, it's called the intersessional work, which takes different forms of, for example, best practice forums, policy networks. Those are community-driven working groups that work on unpacking certain internet governance issues. The most important for you to know is that they're open to anyone to join, and they really welcome anyone's input. You can just go to the IGF website, subscribe to the mailing list, and then start engaging with the existing groups. Thank you. Next slide. I'm just following my time. I know I have around 10 minutes, so I'm close to end my remarks. Let me just not speak a lot about what happened at the IGF in Kyoto this year or the intersessional work, because I think you can visit the IGF website to learn more about the concrete outputs from the IGF in Kyoto, including the Kyoto IGF messages and the intersessional work. But I want to ask just Sajia to please go all the way, or Harun, to please help me to go all the way to the concepts of digital cooperation, our common agenda on the slides. So there are a couple of slides. Yeah, next one, please. Next. I think there are 3-4 slides to skip. Next one. Yes, next one. And one more. The IGF facilitates youth engagement throughout the year, also through the youth track, and I will make sure to make these slides available to you. You are most welcome to join the youth track through your coordinator and support channeling voices of young people into the annual IGF meeting, but also into the IGF ecosystem, as we work a lot with the regional IGFs as well. So I will make sure that colleagues that are coordinating the Youth Afghanistan IGF receive the invitation so they can join our processes. Concepts of digital cooperation of our common agenda is something that you will hear a lot about in the discussions currently of Internet Governance Forum. And I just want very briefly to say that both of these concepts relates to the two reports that the Secretary General issued very recently. Everything was happening in the past 3-4 years. While digital cooperation and the roadmap for digital cooperation recognizes the importance of NRIs, including the young people and encourages the IGF to connect better, to forge linkages with these. It also established the leadership panel. So that's the outcome that I was just mentioning. And if you go to the 2 more slides, please, Harun, to the Global Digital Compact. So 1 more, please. And 1 more. So our common agenda is the latest report from the Secretary General. It speaks about the future of global cooperation, underlying the importance of digital that's really cross-cutting almost all areas of our lives. And it calls for agreement on the Global Digital Compact to outline shared principles for an open, free, and secure digital future for all. The next slide that Harun will help me to go through now illustrates what this digital compact is about. There are a couple of areas that are hopefully to be agreed by the next year Summit of the Future. The Global Digital Compact was subject to multi-stakeholder consultations for a certain amount of time, and now we will hear from the member states discussing how potentially the GDC could be agreed, taking, of course, into account the valuable inputs from the multi-stakeholder community received during that consultative process. Harun, please, to the last slide. I just want colleagues to see our email address. You can email us, and we would be very happy to hear from you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Anja, for your very informative presentation. Now I would like to appreciate if Mr. Adli Wahid is there and explain us from ABCs and importance of cybersecurity. Mr. Wahid?
Yep, I'm here. Thank you, Sajia. Am I able to share my slides, or are you guys going to do that for me? I can share my screen.
The team have the presentation. If I'm just asking if they can share it, or if they can allow you to share your screen.
Okay, I'll share my screen now.
Perfect.
1 second. All right. Can you see my presentation?
We can see it, yes.
Okay, hold on a second. Am I sharing the right? Yep, you can see it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. So thank you once again. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Adli from APNIC, and I am here to share the ABCs and importance of cybersecurity. That was a topic given to me. Cybersecurity is actually a big topic, and I've been doing cybersecurity for a long time. And normally we need more time to discuss this, but let's see how far we can go. And I'm really glad that you have this topic as one of the key issues to be discussed in your meeting today. And definitely we need more people, especially young ones, to participate and have some discussions and collaboration in cybersecurity. Before that, if you guys have LinkedIn or social media, let's connect so that we can continue the conversation after the presentation. So let me start off by asking a question. Why is cybersecurity critical? Everybody's talking about it. Every program that we hear about today will have the word security or something related to security, right? Protection, safety, and so on and so forth. One of the main reasons for this is that cybersecurity or cyberspace is very pervasive. Like we use it for every single thing that we do today. Not just learning, but also, transaction, banking, information sharing. There are tons of information stored in someone else's computer or the cloud. And therefore, there's a lot of sensitivities that needs to be protected. And part of this is because of the evolution of technology, because we are digitizing everything. So we're putting lots and lots of information everywhere on the internet. And if there are no protection of the information, of the infrastructure that is protecting or storing the information, like your network, your systems, your phones, your devices, or people who manage all of this do not know the security issues, then we are all in trouble because that information can be accessed by those without authorities or those who do not have privilege or rights to access those information. And those information could be abused or used against the original intention of that information. So that is why cybersecurity is very, very important. And of course, there are many other reasons for that. But I think the bottom line is, when we think about cybersecurity, think about information that are being collected and stored, and what happens if this information is being, accessed by malicious actors. From another perspective, especially from the business side, and if you are trying to pursue cybersecurity education formally, then it is always said that when we do cybersecurity, we have some goals in mind. So what are those goals? So those goals are to make sure that information that are supposed to be confidential remains confidential, to make sure that whenever we are processing information that we can trust the output. So if I receive an email from Sajia, it is actually an email from her inviting me to a meeting, not a fake person using her name and trying to trick me into paying money into her account. So integrity is very, very important. And especially today, we are looking at information or action being taken without human intervention. So a machine receives input from another machine, and if that system is acting on tampered information or modified information, then we could be at risk. And last but not least, availability. Imagine, you have everything set up in the cyber world, and attackers launch an attack against it, making it unavailable, making it not accessible. And this can have, various impacts to organizations, to users, and so on and so forth. If you have been following the cybersecurity industry lately, you may have heard of attacks called ransomware, where, computer systems are being compromised by attackers. And then not only that, they lock up the computer and they threat the organization: you pay us money or you don't get your data back, or we will publish it on your behalf. And thus exposing a lot of confidential information, secrets, and things like that of the users of the organization. There have been also, data breaches incidents impacting hospitals or banks as well. And these types of incidents have impact on the security goals that I mentioned earlier: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So from the security manager's perspective, working for organization, the game is to secure the infrastructure and secure the information so that the business can continue, can operate, so that customers can trust us when we collect their information, that their information is being safeguarded. Or when government collect information from citizens, know that, we are protecting your private information. So the question is, how do we secure things? Now, the bad news is that there is no one way to do this. This is where things becomes a bit complicated. Many literature talks about, to achieve this, we need a combination of a couple of things. We need good process, we need people with expertise, with knowledge, and also we need technology. And if we zoom into the technology, there are many technologies that are involved. The security community talks about security controls, and there are not just one or two controls, but there are many. And I have a list of them up here. Security assessment, encryption, antivirus, backups, and the list can go on and on and on. The idea is that when you have an infrastructure, when you have information that you want to protect, you have to know where they are, what they look like, and then think about how do we protect these things against unauthorized access, making sure that people without privilege do not have access to this information, that we have backups, and so on and so forth. But the thing is, security controls and security expertise cost money. So security is not free. Security is not cheap. It is something that you have to have, or you have to do, if you are in the business, or doing business in the cyber world. Last but not least, I have a picture of a floppy disk. I'm not sure if any of you recognizes this floppy disk, but the idea here is that over time, technology changes, and therefore we have to adopt our security approaches to protecting information where they are. So in the old days, floppy disk, then USB sticks, and now things are in the cloud. All this talk about the need to secure things, right? The need to protect. Who are we really trying to protect this information from, right? Who are we defending against? So Hollywood has a version of a hacker that wears a hoodie. And as you can see in this picture, No one ever hacks like this by being so close to the screen. It doesn't make any sense. But really, what we are up against are people with motivation and means to do so. So let's say I really want something from you, right? So I will try to think, okay, where can I get this information? Oh, email. Email could be a gold mine with lots of interesting information about an individual or a business. So they will try to go through the email, maybe try to guess the password, or maybe send a piece of malware. When you click on it, then it will give you access to that email program. So generally, in the security community world, there are labels given to this kind of people. You have the hackers, crackers. There are nation states, state-sponsored actors, government who are actually hacking one another for whatever reasons that they have. You have cyber criminals who are doing this for money. There are people who are doing this for as a full-time job. There are fraudsters who takes information that are stolen and use that to trick you into giving them money, and so on and so forth. So there are all these labels, but the point is motivation and means are two key fundamentals that we have to understand as security people. Anybody with a motivation, anybody with a means are people that I need to defend this system against. And a lot of these activities that are done by this group of people or groups of people are actually illegal, right? So this is where if you have laws in place or if you have policies, a lot of these activities are against those policies and laws. For example, to gain access to an information in someone else's computer, you are actually committing unauthorized access because you don't have access to these things. You are doing it illegally. So these are all some other areas, and I highly recommend, because all of you are, some of you might be interested in this field, to check out these two books, Countdown to Zero Day, and there is another book. So why we care about security? Number one, because organization deals a lot with information processes and services, and therefore organizations need to do security, no matter how big or small they are. If they are on the internet, if they use technology, then they are exposed to some of the security challenges that we are talking about today. Some organizations, or many organizations, depending on where they are, they have to do security because it's the law, right? It's a requirement. They have to comply. So it's not just because it's a good thing to do, but because if they don't do it, they can get fined, right? Or they cannot operate or something like that. And within organization, security consists of many activities. So it's not just one job for one person. It could be multiple roles within multiple departments of people and so on and so forth, right? Could be managing, hardening, more technical, monitoring, incident response, audit, and also communication, like talking to the rest of the employees about why we need to do security and so on and so forth. And maybe as an exercise, you can think of what sort of security job should a hospital do within a hospital, and what kind of security work does bank need to do, right? Or financial institutions. You will find that they are basically the same thing because these two institutions, they handle lots of sensitive information. Individually, you also need to be concerned about security, right? Because a lot of us have a lot of information online. We access to a lot of systems or services related to work or personal, and these have to be protected as well. And we trust many providers with our data. So it's twofold. One is that you have to be aware what you need to do security-wise. Number two, organizations or service providers that you deal with and you give data to them, you must make sure that they actually know how to handle security for your data, right? Because it takes two to tango, basically, right? You need to do your part. Organization who takes information from you need to do their part as well. So individuals must have a strong sense of understanding of what security is. And I think each and every one of us is also a tech support for our family and friends as well. So we need to tell them about security so that they don't fall for some of this cyber attacks. Now, the security ecosystem is something else that we normally think about. For security to happen, it takes efforts from various players across multiple domains, right? So there are different stakeholders, policymakers, vendors who produces tools, software, engineers who write protocols, civil society, law enforcement agencies, the security community, the incident handler community, for example, telcos and ISPs. So there's a lot of players, and everybody have to work together in different areas. And this is one of the things that we at APNIC try to do in our various engagement with the community across the region, trying to make sure that people talk to one another, understand the need to talk to one another, and to discuss how we can defend better together so that we can protect our users, right? So collaboration normally happens at national level or local level, regional, right? And also international level. So if we have more time, I can go into some of the examples of those collaboration. So in summary, so it is without a doubt that cybersecurity is very critical for both organization and personnel. It is just not a technical thing. Having technical knowledge is definitely useful, and definitely there is a lot of areas where technicalities is needed, but it's bigger than that, right? It's bigger than that. It's legal, you know, it's marketing, it's business, you know, it's many different areas that you need to combine forces with. Protection of assets, protection of information and assets will lead to achieving the security goals, right? So that's kind of the bottom line of what we are trying to do. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not cheap, right? You have to invest some money, some resources, some time, some expertise into building or maintaining security. Being aware of the issues is the beginning normally, right? So we have to know what is out there, what are people talking about, what makes CEOs sleepless at night when they think about security. But also, I feel that we need more people to be in this domain. So if you have the opportunity, maybe consider being a cybersecurity expert or one of the cybersecurity experts so that you can help organizations, you can help communities, you can help individuals to be more secure. And these days, you know, take advantage of the free resources that are available on the internet. There are plenty of them. Take advantage of experts that are still alive. You know, they can be contactable. And one of those resources that I would like to share is the APNIC Academy. We have some free courses for people to learn at their own pace. And maybe that will spark some ideas and motivation to pursue this domain. And with that, I'd like to end my presentation and happy to take up any questions if anyone has any at a later point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adli. I'm sure it was a very great and useful presentation for everyone here, and I'm sure you would receive a bunch of questions. Now I would like to use from this great opportunities to have Mr. Omar Ansari to share his presentation about technical training for young engineers in Afghanistan and South Asia. Mr. Ansari, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
All right, so great. Okay, Tolta Salamuna, خراغلاست به همگی خوش آمدید میگم دیر زیاد خوشحالم که پس تو کلونونا IGF Afghanistan که اشتراک کم. I'd like to thank all the people who are behind organizing IGF Afghanistan after a long break of, I guess, 3 years. I remember organizing the last IGF Afghanistan in 2019. And it was a great event in Kabul and physical, but it's glad to be back in the scene, and I congratulate the Afghanistan Internet Society, the whole team that organized the event, as well as bringing young people together under the YouthIGF Afghanistan. My name is Omar Ansari. I worked in Afghanistan's private sector civil society, but my last job was with the Afghanistan Telecom Regulatory Authority. And currently I'm working with the APNIC Foundation, I'm running a project that's called the Afghanistan Project, which I'd like to introduce. But generally, I'd like to introduce opportunities that are available through the APNIC Foundation and APNIC in general, as well as some other opportunities in terms of fellowship events and activities that the young people in Afghanistan could participate in. But before anything else, I'd like to introduce the foundation, the APNIC Foundation, to you. It's the fundraising arm, or the development arm of the APNIC. The mission of APNIC Foundation is to develop increase internet investment in the internet investment in the internet development across Asia Pacific region, and this is through education, training, human capacity building, as well as community development research and related subjects in activities. The foundation is in you can see in the map the 3 foundation-led projects, 22 SF Asia grants, 2 SF Asia awards, and 7 foundation community assistance programs. So this is a list of activities. More information on the website. But how do we work is there.
I think we lost Mr. Omar. I'm sorry.
Hello.
I'm sorry, sir. We don't have your videos and presentation.
Okay, sorry. The other device disconnected, so I'm gonna continue here. All right. So I don't have the slides on.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so I think that's back.
Do you want me to share your presentation, or Sherzad can do that for you?
Please share.
Sherzad said, please share the screen. Or if Ansari said that.
Okay. My screen now.
Not yet.
Probably it's like. Can you see it now?
We're trying to solve the problem and download the presentation to have Mr. Omar Ansari back.
Can you see my screen now?
We can see it, Ansari said. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry for that. Let me. All right. So the 3 programs are infrastructure, inclusion, and in knowledge. We do a lot of support, technical training and assistance, community development grants. We provide grants and awards. Also, the foundation supports infrastructure development projects and research and collaboration activities. This is to empower and strengthen communities of network engineers, security professionals in the internet governance professionals in general. So altogether, it contributes to a global, open, affordable, accessible, and stable and secure internet. The programs that I have mentioned, the infrastructure inclusion in knowledge, are further explained here. The purpose is to increase internet speed, reduce maintenance and operational costs, improve reliability and security from a technical and operational perspective. So in order to achieve this, the foundation supports network deployment and operations, network monitoring and management, and security and privacy projects across the Asia Pacific. Under the inclusion program, the purpose is to ensure that everyone has a meaningful and efficient access to the internet, the online applications in services from a technical and operational perspective. And under this program, the foundation supports projects related to availability and connectivity, internet access and affordability, accessibility, and diversity. The knowledge program aims to develop technical capacity in our research around the internet network operations from technical and operational perspective as well. So under this program, the foundation supports professional development, new information and training resources, translation of knowledge resources into the Asia Pacific languages. And that's because there are many people who are non-English speaking. In order for them to be able to access this information, we believe the best way is to provide localized content and solutions for them. How do we invest in capacity development? There are a number of examples listed here. Number one, the foundation supports APNIC Academy in terms of training delivery and community trainers. So it's one of the sponsors of APNIC Academy. It also supports curriculum development for non-technical audiences and supports research and internet development. Under the cybersecurity, the foundation supports a project called HoneyNet, and I think Adli, who just spoke, is leading the effort, and also threat sharing initiatives. The foundation also supports runs a project that I'm leading for. It's specific to Afghanistan and offers technical training in mentoring for internet professionals in the country. There's another project called Switch, which is about gender in diversity in Asia Pacific. The foundation also supports School on Internet Asia, or SOI Asia project. Funding mechanisms that are available for the community includes ASF Asia funding or grants. There is an open call for proposal for 2024, and there's IPv6 grants available for the communities across the region to apply for. There's also a foundation community assistance program available, and trust discretionary fund availability. So I'm gonna share with you a little bit about the project that I have been working on. The project is called the Afghanistan Project. It was started in January 2022, but the project is now in the process of expanding to other countries in South Asia, and the new name of the project would be Digital Leap South Asia. In early 2024, we plan to start this project. So the Afghanistan project, the full name is Technical Training and Mentoring Support for Internet Professionals in Afghanistan, where we kind of recruit 32 Afghan participants who have background in network engineering and technology. There were 206 courses in learning activities listed or requested by these professionals, which included professional certification programs. So far, 40% of these activities have been completed. The participants received 83 training and professional certifications so far, and about 60% of the participants have been reporting their monthly progress with their training. The project, Afghanistan project, would be expanded. The scope is, expanding both the geography and the scope of the project would be changed, and the new project name, as I said, would be Digital Leap South Asia. This is starting with 4 countries of Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Maldives, and Pakistan. But in January, we'll be able to launch Afghanistan, Maldives, and Pakistan. We'll look for resources and planning for Bangladesh at later stage. But obviously, we're interested in expanding to more countries in South Asia, subject to the availability of the funding. The goal of the project is to enhance technical capacity and internet development operations in security and policy and regulatory areas. Objectives are to enhance awareness and engagement. That is through supporting programs like IGF Afghanistan, SIGs, the Schools on Internet Governance in NOGs. We are interested in doing the same in other countries, and I'm glad and proud to see that APNIC Foundation has been supporting the initiatives currently taking place in Afghanistan. Development of technical knowledge and skills is a key objective of the program. We're interested in supporting network engineers across the target region so they can work together and learn more skills, and also finally to contribute to strengthening the regional collaboration in policy and infrastructure. There is an expression of interest available on the link here. It's a SurveyMonkey link. If you're interested in joining or future potential Digital Leap South Asia opportunities, that you can respond to this expression of interest, and we'll be in contact with you. Some other opportunities also available. These are training fellowships and events. If anyone in the organizing team can look for them and post the links in the chat, would be great. This includes national and regional IGFs, schools on internet governance, network operators groups. APNIC 57 is coming up. That's in Thailand next year. IETF is going to be taking place in Australia. APIGA, which is Internet Governance Academy, this is taken in Korea. APR IGF is coming up in Taiwan. There are other programs called Engage Media, Digital Rights Festival, and SANOG. So these are some of the opportunities, which also includes fellowships, which perhaps the Afghan professionals can apply for and take benefit. For contacts and more information about the foundation in SF Asia, here are some links you can perhaps use to to learn more about the activities. Thank you so much. Back to you, Sajia, and if there are any questions, I will be happy to respond.
Thank you, Ansari Saib, for delivering it as very important information, and for sure it's a very great opportunity for young people to use from these trainings. Thanks a lot. At this time, we would like to invite Mr. Mohibullah Utmankhil, if you're online, to have your presentation on a very important topic, online safety.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Yarmal. Am I audible? Am I audible, please?
Yes, you are. We have your we have your presentation on the screen.
Thanks for having me, Ms. Yarmal. I'm Mohibullah Utmankhil. I'm the coordinator of the Afghanistan Network Operators Group. Next slide, please. Internet and social media have become an important part of our daily lives. So I'm here to present about online safety. Despite the opportunities and benefits that the internet offers, there are also risks and dangers. According to the UN's Broadband Commission for Sustainable Development, estimated that around 4.1 billion people are online, and the majority of those are youth. And that means that youth and teenagers are more susceptible to the harms and dangers of the internet. According to another study by IGF Foundation, the study shows that half of the youths online have been cyberbullied. And also another study by the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health shows that those who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media may have doubled the risk of mental health problems, such as depression, anxiety, and loneliness. So considering the dangers, we may ask this question: that is abandoning social media works? And the short answer to that would be no. The way internet and social media shapes our societies and relationships today, abandoning social media and internet is entirely impossible. So how can we make internet a safe and better place? Online safety is a crucial aspect of our digital lives. As more and more aspects of our personal and professional activities move online, and with the level of advancement in artificial intelligence, specifically generative AI, it is really important that we prioritize and practice good online safety habits. Next slide, please. So one slide back, please. One slide back. One slide back, please. To the, there is one sentence. Yeah. Thank you. So we all agree that ensuring a secure online environment involves more than just safeguarding technical protocols and identifiers of the internet. Protocols, protecting protocols such as HTTP or FTP and identifiers of the internet such as DNS or IP is crucial for preventing unauthorized access and data breaches. But online safety extends to various other aspects. For example, user education and awareness, for example, behavioral aspects, content moderation, legal and regulatory compliances, and many more. Next slide, please. So these are some of the challenges and dangers of the online environment. Of course, some of these were already raised by Adli on his presentation. So for the sake of finishing on time, I just won't go into details again. But you can see some of the dangers and challenges you will face online. They are all listed here. Of course, they are not all, but some of them. Next slide, please. So there is no single solution for all of the issues we mentioned in the previous slide, but there are steps and processes that assures us safety online. One of these steps is privacy and protection. We have to be cautious about the type of information we share online. For example, we don't have to share our digital ID numbers, or what we call it in Afghanistan, the شماره تذکره الکترونیکی. ID theft is a serious problem out there in the online environment. The second thing we should consider about privacy and protection is that we have to think about with whom we are sharing our information. So most of the online platforms have settings that you can manage, that who should be the audience of that post in that platform. And also think before you click on the links that you receive in Messenger and also in your email. You should regularly review privacy settings on social media accounts because sometimes the companies change their default settings, and also understand how your data is being used by social media platforms. So the risk we face isn't the technology itself. It is more about people and behavior. It is the person who would use technology in a way to harm others. Another step, of course, another important step is cyber safety awareness and education. Education and awareness is really important. Educate your parents, educate your siblings, your friends about cyber safety steps. Just as teaching kids about crossing the road is a crucial step in their growth, education on cyber safety is as vital. And before you buy any digital device for your kids, your siblings, you should make sure that they know online safety measures. Of course, YouthIGFA platform is a suitable platform for raising awareness about online safety, but we all know that it is also necessary to take these discussions into schools and universities. We have the skills to we should have the skills to critically evaluate information on online platforms and do not fall for any trap or disinformation. Another important step is that we have to improve our emotional intelligence skills. It is really hard to be in social media without getting some negative emotions. Sometimes by seeing fancy social media stars, we would feel bad about ourselves, but you don't have to compare yourself with others. People lie and they want to present themselves in the way they want you to see them, not in the way they necessarily are. So internet access is also an important public health issue. There are serious cyberbullying possibilities in online platforms, which results in depression and anxiety. And it is not just in social media. You have to also be careful of the gaming applications. There are also addiction concerns with heavy use of digital devices, which also leads to health issues. And if you experience cyberbullying, there are processes you can report them. And of course, in case of addiction, you can download apps that stops you from using too much of social media. But we have to be very cautious about our online and private lives. Next slide, please. So to conclude, Internet has incredible things to offer, but also has serious challenges. You don't have to be security expert or a master hacker to be safe online. You just need to be cautious about differing reliable and unreliable sources and understanding the potential consequences of your online actions. Your social media should be a combination of the good things in the world. Everything you see is up to you. If anything doesn't inspire you, just remove it and get rid of it. And of course, clean up your digital footprints. There are some good books. I have listed them down here. Please read these books if you want to control what you have already shared in the online platforms. Next slide, please. Thank you. Let's all work to make the internet a better place for everyone. Thank you, Ms. Yarmal. You can have the mic back.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Utmankhil.
You're welcome.
It was a very great presentation. As we are getting close to our timeline, at the end, I would like to ask our next speakers to have her presentation on YouthIGF initiatives. Ms. Phyo Thiri Wlin, committee member at Myanmar YouthIGF and also member at APAC YouthIGF. I would like to invite you to have your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Sajia, for inviting me. First of all, thank you for having me today, and it was a very great pleasure to be here. I am a project coordinator of the Internet Governance Forum Myanmar, as well as a committee member at the Asia Pacific yIGF. Next slide, please. Yep. Can you zoom in a bit? Yep. Asia Pacific yIGF Internet Governance Forum 2023 was hosted in the Brisbane, Australia. With the theme Youth Frontiers of the Digital Governance, where innovations and safety and well-being meet. And this is the annual meetings in the Asia Pacific region where the UN leaders and the participants from the Asia Pacific region to discuss about the digital policy related issue at this forum. And the organizers of this forum is NetMation.Asia, which is a network of the passionate youth from the Asia dedicated to engaging and empowering youth in the Internet governance discourse with the aim to enhance youth mobility and create the impact in the Asia. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the highlights of the Asia Pacific Youth Internet Governance Forums, and it has been more than 55 individuals joined this forum on board, on sites and online. And the organizing committee has been have to facilitate and to host the IGF Internet Governance 2023 Youth Workshop 3 in the Brisbane, Australia as well. That is what Anja mentioned before. This is a year-round workshop initiated by the organized by the groups of the multi-stakeholder group, where the yIGF coordinator and as well as the host country and the IGF secretariat are also the part of the organizing team to make it happen. So far, the Youth Workshop 3 was happened in the Asia Pacific region, co-hosting at the Asia Pacific yIGF this year. And Also, the EU leader from the Asia Pacific IGF Organizing Committee were invited to join the EU representation at the parliamentary track from the Asia Pacific community as well. More than that, we have the Asia Pacific IGF had been facilitated to adopt the EU policy statement for the inclusion and diversity, where the participants, both online and offline participants, contribute to this EU policy statement to making sure the young people voices making sure the young people voices from the Asia Pacific region regarding the inclusion and diversity. The most prominent part of the prominent section of the Asia Pacific IGF is which was recently initiated and initiated as a EU leader dialogue session. That was a session where the EU leader from the, especially EU coordinator from EU coordinators and EU experts from the Asia Pacific region discuss about the digital policy related issue and other internet issue among the Asia Pacific region. That is one of the prominent sessions that were recently initiated by the Asia Pacific IGF. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yep. This photo were taken during the UTRA session. As you see here, there are also the on-site and online participants who joined this UTRA workshop. There was a discussion about the trust and human rights perspectives, violence related to the violence in privacy, security, freedoms or expression. Yeah, next slide, please. In terms of the strategic data, Asia Pacific IGF received over 100 registration from the 19 economies in the Asia Pacific regions, and participants are, as I mentioned before, 55 individuals joined the forum, and over 20 industry experts are also support and join this forum as well. Thank you. Next slide, please. Yeah, very recently, Asia Pacific IGF have been initiated another steering committee for organizing the Asia Pacific IGF 2024. This idea and this import was proposed by the young people during the Asia Pacific young people during the Asia Pacific Youth Forums, and also it was also if you read the youth statement, it was also included that it has been proposing by the young people to have the steering committee of the Asia Pacific IGF. So it was set up this year, and while the youth coordinator from the Asia Pacific region are steadily engaged in this steering committee for having and for supporting the Asia Pacific IGF 2024, aligned with the approach by Youth for Youth, which means young people are also important for young people as well. And it was kind of like encouraging young people to get involved more in supporting each other. Next slide, please. Yeah, I also would like to briefly introduce about the YouthIGF Myanmar as well as a coordinator. YouthIGF Myanmar is YouLeaf initiated, and our very first forums were initiated in the 2022, talking about the healthy digital life. In this forum, we have been discussed about misinformation, disinformation, as well as the impact of the information flow because of the political turmoil. as you may know, that Myanmar has been detained by the military in the February 2021. It has been very challenging for us to set up this first forum, as there are lots of internet curfews and internet censorship and internet disruption are still occurring in certain areas so far. So, like the previous speaker mentioned, when we are talking about the online safety, we have to know the emotional intelligence, right? So far, when we are when we are hosting this the very first Internet Governance Forum in Myanmar, we also have to aware of the emotional intelligence and online safety issue, because we would like to bring the safe space for the participants where we can discuss freely and openly in this first forum. So it has been a very hard time for it to make it happen. So far, it was successfully hosted online. And next slide, please. Continuously this year, we could also make it happen, the second Internet Governance Forum. As our mission is to advocate internet governance, meaningful, inclusive, trustworthy, and safer internet through the yIGF Myanmar. This year forum was talking about the AI and security, as well as digital security capacity building to the participants. So far, Myanmar is leaving behind in terms, in many ways, be impacting from the political crisis and ongoing civil war. We are trying, the organizing committee has been trying to bridge the gap between the AI and the future challenge that might probably we face in the future. So the main purpose of that forum is capacity building, as well as we also have a session talking about the online harassment, presenting about the online harassment research paper, as well as a panel discussion where the panelists are the local speaker from the private sector, academia, as well as from the civil society sector. So we have an inclusive panel where we could the participant could experience and hearings in their opinions from the different perspectives. Next slide, please. In terms of the statistical data, it has been 42 registry at the first Internet Governance Forum. Although it was 42 registry, we only could invite the 30 participants. As we always support the internet allowance to the participant because of the expensive data package after the 2021 February. We have a challenge of the budget constraint, so we could only invite the 30 participants, and also we recruit the 10 volunteers to support this program, first Internet Governance Forum, but just only 15 participants could join the forum. However, in 2023, there was 47 registry at the second Internet Governance Forum, and 24 participants could join the forum to pay their capacity, as well as to understand more about AIs and challenge of the Myanmar, having through the panel discussion and capacity building program. More than that, according to the survey, they have been get aware of the digital security, as well as online harassment problem in their in our community, which are the biggest issues and challenge during this political crisis period. Next slide, please. Thank you very much, and thank you for giving this opportunity to me, sharing about the Asia-Pacific yIGF and the Myanmar yIGF. Thank you very much.
Ms. Lane, I'm thanking you for your very thoughtful explanation and presentation. Thanks a lot. As we are close to our timeline, we are going to open our Q&A session. If anyone has any question from our speakers, please write in chat box so I can read and ask from our speakers. I have a question from Mr. Utmankhil, which is referring to Ms. Anja. If you're still there, Anja.
Yes, I am.
Great. So he's asking about the GDC. He's asking about your perspective on the United Nations Global Digital Compact initiatives, especially why some community leaders perceive the GDC as an optional treat rather than an opportunity. Are there particular aspects of the initiative or its implementation that have raised concern within the community leadership?
Thank you very much for a very good question. Well, the Global Digital Compact is envisioned by the word of the report of our common agenda as an outline of shared principles. And I think that's how we as a community also regard it, as a very important framework of values and principles within which the governance and potential regulation would be established. What is interesting to know is that in the Global Digital Compact and also in the Our Common Agenda, there is this concept present of multi-stakeholder model, and that's to the IGF, of course, that's been nurturing that concept for almost 2 decades now, is critically important because it gives a basis for the inclusion of all stakeholders of having a say in the way the domain areas that the Global Digital Compact outlines could be governed. And so that's how we see it. I think in terms of the young people and their inclusion, the Secretary General, but I think the UN system really as a whole has been very dedicated to engagement of young people. And probably you've seen that as of, I believe, this year, there is the office of the youth envoy with the United Nations, with the Secretariat, the Executive Secretariat, which speaks about the concrete commitment of the UN to meaningfully engage young people and to have their voice heard, but not just that, to have them really integrated in all the discussion processes. So this is as much as I can say. I don't know if it completely responds to your a very good question, but that's where we are. This is how we regard the GDC, and we're very much focused on contributing within our capacity, including the Secretariat, to the GDC processes. We did during the consultation period. The leadership panel, for example, of the IGF contributed an input. Many of the national and regional IGFs contributed inputs to the consultative process of the GDC. And now many of the member states will be engaged in the negotiation process. Last evening, actually, I spoke at the Latin American and the Caribbean IGF, listening from many of the colleagues there in Colombia and from the region. And we did exchange views that while the governments, so the member states, will be directly speaking, through the NRIs, through the national and regional IGFs, on many levels, we do have opportunity to inform our governments through a multi-stakeholder input to make sure that our voices are channeled there. And on the NRIs level, we do see quite a lot of good cooperation of the governments with the national IGFs and the regional IGFs. However, we do see also challenges. I have to be very honest. And I think just last year, the IGF, we did agree that really there more needs to be done on all levels to raise awareness with inclusion of governments and have them really recognize the multi-stakeholder national or regional IGF processes as their avenues for discussion before decisions are made. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anja. There is one more question which is not which is not mentioning the name, but I would like to read the question, and it's from Nasir Habib. He asked, we request that the restriction on kids YouTube for Afghanistan be removed. With Google Family Link, we can effectively control and manage our children's digital device usages, including setting limits and content filters.
Maybe I can quickly just reflect on that. When I was in Kabul for the National IGF of Afghanistan, that was the first time I witnessed in the history of the NRI processes to a very meaningful capacity development engagement of children. Later, I saw some others follow the trend, a very few, unfortunately it's not still endorsed by all NRIs. But I think that was such a good process to, first of all, get our children engaged, to understand that the internet and its associated tools and services is an opportunity, but at the same time that they need to know how to use it. And colleagues that spoke before me, just before this part, about safety, about security, insisting on capacity development, insisting that safety and security is not just about our devices, our cables being safe and secure, our signals. It's also about people knowing how to navigate through this complex environment, to use it safely. And start building that capacity from early age on is extremely important. Afghanistan IGF, as I said, set an example how that can be done through the kids IGF. We've seen that, for example, with Bangladesh later. But I hope that we can continue with that practice and sharing it as a good practice with the other NRIs. And I hope that responds. Thank you.
Thank you. Ubaidullah also asked, a new challenge is deep fake issue. So many questions, how can we minimize its risk, how to deal with it, and finally, how to recognize it and separate it from reality? If anybody
if I address that question.
Yes.
Ms. Yarmal, so of course, the challenge of artificial intelligence, as I mentioned, AI and specifically the generative AI imposes a serious security and safety challenge. And regarding the deep fake issue, there are ongoing research about how to develop tools to identify these fake posts than the real ones. So to have a short answer for that, it would be good to, of course, raising awareness would help much about it. You have to know about deepfake mechanisms and how deepfake works. And also, of course, the scale of identifying the information, the reliable and unreliable information is also very helpful to tackle that specific deepfake issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Omar Ansari also raised his hand. I'm seeing in this.
Thank you. I'm glad that Anja mentioned the Kids Academy in Afghanistan IGF. And I'm very saddened that we don't have, and actually I was the coordinator of that little Kids Academy. Together, my co-facilitator was my biggest supporter at the IGF, in the IG scene in general. Marilyn Kate, whom we unfortunately lost. I just shared the video of the Kids Academy. The kids are sharing their experiences about the Afghan IGF in attending the Afghan IGF in 2019. You will be amazed to see, what they have learned and the knowledge they have gained through that academy. We try to do a virtual academy this year, but since, with the fall of the government, many of those children were not at the school. But we will, in our will, personally try to identify some of those kids and see if we can do this again next year in 2024 with the local school in Afghanistan. Thank you, Anja and friends.
Thank you, everyone, from your very useful and informative presentations. And I'm thanking everyone who joined us as a participant in our session. At the end, I would like to ask everyone if it's possible to on your camera so we could take a group photo for us. And we would like to share that on our social media. If anyone have any problem with that, please mention it. We will blur the names and identities. So let's make our cameras on and take a group photo.
I'm very sorry to interrupt you, Sajia. I think we had Adli raised his hand. If you give him 1 minute. Thank you.
Okay. So using from the listed time, I would like to also share with you all that we have our next session, which is moderated by Lema John. So let's stay online and join the next session as soon as we finish our session in a few minutes. دوستایی که هنوز هستین در سشن ازتون تقاضا میکنم که آنلاین باقی بانین. ما سشن بعدی خود چند دقیقه دیگه شروع میکنیم. لیما جان مدومی سشن مدریت خواهد کردن. همراهی بکنین. تاپیک های بسیار جالب هست که همه ما شما میتونیم از این تاپیک ها استفاده بکنیم و یک چیز بیاموزیم.
Actually, I'm taking the screenshot, so I need your smiley faces. Okay. One, we have 2 pages. Please stay. Okay, just 1 second more, please. Keep your videos on. One more page to go. All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot. Let's go to the next session.
Thank you, Sajia. Thank you, everyone. Good. I think it's morning in Afghanistan. Good morning, Afghanistan, and wherever you are, I hope you started a great day, or if it's an evening, good evening. And I hope the previous session was insightful and you gather something from that. سلام، صبح خیر کابل، صبح خیر افغانستان. امیدوار هستم که یک روز خوب و خوش را آغاز کرده باشین. خرقلست مننه د دینه چې اوسه پورې مونږ سره وی. And in our today's sessions, which is about future of internet connecting the unconnected, we will have some
very distinguished speakers, and I would like to welcome them all to our session today, and thank you for being with us. We have Mr. Wolfgang Kleinwachter. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your last name correctly. Please let me know. The professor Professor Emeritus at University of Aarhus. We have Thiri Switzer from the Training Delivery Manager of South Asia, Oceania APNIC. We have Ahmed Fahim Didar, Executive Director of ARIS Professional Services, and we have Weiss Payab, Project Approval and Oversight Manager at CDT. Thank you, everyone. I hope we have all our speakers here. I would like to start with Mr. Wolfgang. Thank you for being here. I think I see you in the participants. If you could please introduce yourself to us, and we will hear from you. Over to you.
Thank you, and good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is, thank you for the invitation. It's a great honor and also pleasure to address the IGF in Afghanistan. So unfortunately, I've never been there, but I hope and I see from the first conversation that you have already a very active small community there supporting the IGF, which is very good. You know, I'm one of these veterans in this field. I was involved from the mid of the 1990s in the making of ICANN and in the making of the World Summit on the Information Society, which finally produced the Internet Governance Forum as a discussion platform for everybody, not only for governments, but also for non-governmental actors. So at this time, I was a member of the UN Working Group on Internet Governance, which was established by the Secretary General of the United Nations at this time by Kofi Annan. And Kofi Annan called the WSIS Summit on the Future. It was very interesting to listen to his argument, because he said normally UN summits are about problems of the past, where we have in our present time to manage problems which has been created in the past. But with the internet, we have now a chance to look into the future and to manage it at an early stage. So this was in the year 2003. And now the future of the internet is here, and we are looking towards another UN summit on the future of the planet, not only on the future of the internet, which is the summit on the future, which will take place next year. And part of this summit on the future will be a global digital compact. I will come back to this in a minute. So the World Summit on the Information Society had to discuss, you know, what to do with the internet. And some governments were in favor to create another UN organization only for the internet. But in the WIGIG, in this Working Group on Internet Governance,
I think we lost Mr. Wolfgang. I don't know if you can hear me. Hello? Yes, so until the connection is established back and we have him back, if I could please have Thiri Switzer to introduce to us and let us know a little bit about himself, would be really nice. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Lima, for that invitation. Yes, I'm Thiri Switzer. I'm an Aussie, but right now I'm actually sitting in a hotel room in the Kingdom of Tonga in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, because I'm here doing some capacity building with the local operators, teaching IPv6 deployment this week in Tonga. So that gives you a very good idea of one of the things I do a lot of at APNIC, and that's that capability building across both South Asia and Oceania. So those are two rather large areas to work with. In the Pacific, the population density is quite low, but it's a very large continent. We refer to it as the blue continent here in the Pacific. And of course, with South Asia, one of our primary concerns is what's happening in, obviously, places India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, but especially Afghanistan as well, which is why we're here at this conference today in force from Foundation and from APNIC as well. My role concentrates on training delivery, and we use that as a vehicle for the development agenda of APNIC and APNIC Foundation. And as I was saying, we train on things like IPv6, but we also attend things like IGFs, NOGs, and so on, and contribute to conferences and events like this as part of the technical community in some fashion. We try very much to give anybody and everybody a chance at learning something from us. And I think that is one of the great privileges of my position is I am preeminently a teacher these days, which I think is great. But I think we do have Wolfgang reconnected. So you've had my introduction, but when the agenda returns to me, I'm going to give the audience a demonstration of our Academy platform, which is automated and also in-person training platform for APNIC. But I'll give the floor back to Wolfgang now that he is back online. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. So I lost the connection, and I hope this will not reappear. That I will be now try to be very brief and to come to my main points. So I mentioned that the IGF was the result of the World Summit on the Information Society, and the basic idea was that before you take decisions on the governmental level, you have to have a broad discussion which includes all stakeholders, not only governments, but also the business, the civil society, the technical community, academic community, and many more. And so the IGF became this great success story, and we will have already the 19th one in this year, in next year in Saudi, with this +20, the review conference of what was achieved 19 years ago in Tunis. So we have seen a lot of various events, and the recent idea to strengthen the process for human-centered information society came out from the discussion on the agenda for peace of the Secretary General of the United Nations. And this was, we need a summit on the future, and the future of the planet will include the future of the internet. And so the idea came up to have a special global digital compact. So that means a document where the 193 governments of the United Nations agree on certain guardrails and objectives, how the digital world could be organized and shaped. So, and this is now ahead of us, and I think this is a main issue for the discussion in the year 2024. Anja mentioned already some of the problems. So my understanding of this process is that the Global Digital Compact will be an annex of the Pact of the Future, which will be also adopted at the summit meeting in September 2024. But there is not yet clear, how this Global Digital Compact should look like. Will this be a big compact, 20 pages with a lot of articles and agreements among governments, or whether this will be just a short document which gives you some inspiration, how to continue with the development of the internet. So there is no need to reinvent the wheel, because in the last 20 and arrangements and negotiations which shape the future development of the internet. In Tunis, we did have less than 1 billion internet users. It was just 500 million. And within 20 years, the number of internet users in the world was growing to 5 billion now. The problem is, and you have this in your title of the session, there are still 2.3 people unconnected. So the challenge will be, to move forward and to connect the unconnected. So whether a document with like a global digital compact will help here is a good question, and it needs the efforts not only of governments but of all stakeholders. And this brings me to the second point, because if only government sits on the negotiation table, then you miss a lot of other active stakeholders in the globe. And so far, it's a little bit unclear, how the stakeholders will be involved in the making of this global digital compact. So this is a challenge. And as Anja has said, it's a good idea if everybody in the world, from the stakeholders, connect to their governments, inform their national governments, about the problems we have in this broad complexity in the internet governance ecosystem, from AI to infrastructure, from cybersecurity to bridging the digital divide and all these issues, because very often, in particular in smaller governments, they do not have the capacity to follow all these details. And so it's up to community to take the responsibility and to contribute so that the national government can raise the voice in this negotiation in a relevant way. And the final point is, after the compact is agreed, what will happen with the compact? And here is a proposal on the table, which is in my eyes very important. So there is no need to establish another process or another international organization for the implementation of the Global Digital Compact. We have the Internet Governance Forum. The Internet Governance Forum is an established platform which has demonstrated that it has the capacity to deal with a lot of issues. And so the best thing would be if the Global Digital Compact would say that the landing place and the network for the implementation of the Global Digital Compact would be the IGF. So this would strengthen the IGF. The IGF would get the duty and the responsibility to implement a global digital compact. This is also important because the mandate of the IGF terminates in 2025. So the mandate was originally only for 5 years. Then it was, adjusted for 10 years. Now we have 20 years, the IGF. But the World Summit, the review conference, WSIS plus 20, have to renew the mandate. And it would be a great thing if the Global Digital Compact would say, okay, we need this mechanism. We have to strengthen the mechanism. This is the right mechanism for implementation of the Global Digital Compact. This would make it much more easier for governments to extend the mandate of the IGF beyond 2025. So we have for the next 2 years have a lot of problems ahead of us. So it's the Global Digital Compact, it's the WSIS plus 20, and I'm also very impressed that you had in the opening a youth forum, because this is a challenge for the youth. This is the future. So we old veterans, we are now the grandfathers of all this, but the future is in the hand of the next generation. And insofar, it's very exciting to see so many young people who are becoming engaged and have identified this as an issue for their future. And I always argue that climate change is important, but the stability in cyberspace and the digital future is also important for the next generation. And with this, I give back to the moderator. Thank you very much, and sorry for the technical problems I created with the loss of my connection. Thank you.
It's all right. Thank you so much for giving us a very good perspective of what IGF is, where it started, and how important it is for the stability of the technological community and for the stability of the internet governance itself. Thank you so much. Now I would like to request Mr. Fahim Didar, Ahmed Fahim Didar, the Executive Director of AGI's Professional Services. Mr. Fahim Didar, you are here with us. Thank you so much. If you could please introduce yourself and let us know about how we could encourage local contents creation and innovation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lemajan, and everyone at IGF for inviting me, and first of all, for putting this informational session after a long time. It's very good to see some faces and names which I haven't seen for a long, and also being introduced to some new knowledgeable individuals here. This is Ahmed Fahim Didar. I manage a company called AGI's Professional Services. And thank you very much, Mr. Ansari, for giving this name to my company. So Mr. Ansari is here, who is my true inspiration. The reason why my company is named is AGI's, and the reason why I choose startups as a career path for myself and my company is Mr. Ansari. So thank you, Mr. Ansari, for being the inspiration for me. So today I'm given a topic to talk about, which I initially saw this topic. I thought I don't know anything about it. So I was about to write to Mr. Bowery that I don't know about it. But as I started writing, I just found, no, I know a lot about it, because I'm creating a lot of content by myself. And I will tell you a short story. I talk, this TikTok and Instagram and things, this is becoming very popular among teens. So I saw a guy here in Turkey where I live that's creating a lot of content. He has a lot of power in content creation and expression, but actually he is not using it the right way. So I had a chat with him one day. It happened to be just spontaneous, and we discussed about how he can make this topics and discussions much better. With a short amount of time, we did a calculation, and we found that if he manages it very well, he can earn at least $50 per day. A few days ago, I received a call from him telling me that, sir, every week I need to transfer $1,000 to my account in Turkey, but I don't know how to do it. So I told him, now, from where you're getting this money? He told me that it's coming from Instagram and TikTok. Only TikTok. So I said, okay, if you give me 250 of this 1,000 per week, I can manage it for you. I can land it safely to your bank account. So now it means that if we look around, everyone is creating content. And content creation has become, some people even don't know that they're creating content, but content is creating everywhere, especially with having internet connectivity more than any time in the era now, is giving this opportunity to basically create content. So with that said, I would like to share my screen. I hope I have the right to share. So is everyone seeing my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so this session will be interactive. First of all, I would like to have some views from the participant as well while we are moving ahead with our discussion. So for that, how I have framed this discussion today is that I will go with some definition about the content, and then we talk about the content ecosystem, some trends in Afghanistan, which will be a an interactive session with the audience, especially those who are in Afghanistan. And then finally, we talk about some opportunity and resources. So before we move to the whole presentation, I would like everyone to go to slido.com and use this code. When you are asked the code, please use this code to enter the interactive session. I've just also copied the link and the code in the chat, so please make use of that. And let me also myself go to this website now. Okay, so I hope everyone is on the website now. We will use it in few seconds or minutes. So the definitions. The content is something that we express our views, our ideas through speech, through writing, through visual, various forms of art, publications, and marketing materials. So basically, whenever our thoughts are brought out of our mind to another form, it is actually created content. So that's the basic definition of content. And content creation is the process where we produce the information and share it. That becomes the process of content creation. Now, this process can be through various forms of presentation, visuals, speeches, books, writings, and many things. And if I give you a business perspective definition of content, so content creation for a business is to first create topic and ideas which can appeal to the buyer of the business, and then present it in written or visual or any form which eventually can grab the attention of the target buyers and generate revenue. So these are some of the definitions to just make the ground. And then we talk about the ecosystem. So like any other endeavor, content and content creation is actually part of an ecosystem. You need to be in an ecosystem. You need to know your ecosystem in order to create meaningful contents. So who are creating contents? News outlets, academics, businesses, authors, writers, government, and users. Users. When I say users, I mean every one of us. Whoever is using internet, they can create content. What is majorly created nowadays? So current affairs, news agencies want to report about what's happening in the world. Stories, people try to say stories through forms of films, movies, journals, PR and advertising. Mostly companies use this for their marketing purposes. Sponsored researches. So there are companies who are paying some of the research agencies to do research on topics and create some content out of that. Visuals, statistic, laws, knowledge, and of course, nonsense. So nowadays, with the advent of internet and all these availability of different mediums, nonsense is also created in that's unfortunately a content. And where? Traditional media, where these contents are distributed. Traditional media, social media, events, blogs, video services, and books, and internet. Overall, social media and the internet platforms are now the dominant and content distribution channels. Why? Why these contents are created? So some created for TRP, for example, news agencies and TV channels, they create for TRP, educational purposes, innovation, drive sales, fame. Some people create contents to drive fame to themselves. law and order, governments create contents to educate people on law and order and make them law-abiding citizens. Political agenda, satisfaction, some people just for the sake of satisfying themselves, especially users, they create contents. And some people do it for reducing boredom or killing the free time. So this is basically, when you combine all of these together, you can see the picture of the content creation ecosystem. With that said, now I am entering into a interactive session with the audience. I'm going to start a poll together with you. So I hope everyone is now on Slido, because I have a question here. And the question says that who are creating contents in Afghanistan? So let's start with this. I want everyone to just review all of these options provided to you, and please select the ones which you feel is appropriate in terms of your own understanding. If there is any problem accessing this, please let me know. Wow, seems like business, media, yeah, users, artists, businesses, celebrities, writers, and academia. I'm sorry that writers and academia in Afghanistan is not getting much attention. Yeah, so far I see that 5 people are there. Come on, guys, we need more data to make sure that we are coming to a right conclusion. Yeah, so I see that there are 43 people in the call, but what I see, 7 people are there on the survey. Okay. All right. So as you can see, we see that the majorly contents are created in Afghanistan, first by media, second by businesses, third by users, fourth by artists, and then writers, celebrities in academia. I think this represents somehow, I don't know how businesses are creating content, because as per my understanding, businesses are not creating that much of content, apart from what I see that they're creating advertising on the internet and media. But I would say the way that we see this right now in Afghanistan, users are creating much of the data. But anyhow, this is something which I will also share later in the presentation slide. So media, business, users, artists, writers, celebrities, academies, 0. So let's go back. With this, I'm going to the next question. What contents are created actually? So I'm just starting the second poll here. Okay, what contents are created in Afghanistan? So this is a poll where you are open to write whatever you feel. Yeah, so you need to just type it there. I see that I have only 3 minutes left. Yeah, news. Only 1 participant here. What contents are created in Afghanistan? Yeah. So as we see news, yes, news is created a lot in Afghanistan. And beside that, what I see, videos are created, especially the YouTubers are creating a lot of video, which it can come into the entertainment form. Well, now we have a clear picture of what kind of information is being created. All right, so I'm just now going with the final and third poll here. Yeah, we have some really good information here, seeing that the news and entertainment is the largest content created in Afghanistan as of now. So let's go to the third poll because I'm giving alerts that time is short. So which mediums are used for content publishing and distribution in Afghanistan? So how people distribute their contents, the contents which you just mentioned, how people are distributing this content to their audience. Yeah, social media, network, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Yeah, I know that Facebook is a popular medium in Afghanistan. Social media. Okay, all right, everyone. Thank you for taking part in this. This will be later. The result of this will be placed in the same presentation, which will be shared with you by IGF team. So I see that the media, which is very popular in Afghanistan, is YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So these are the media through which people are distributing their content. All right, so now based on what we just saw in the screen, what gaps do you see? And the gap that you see there, that is the opportunity. I would say that this is unfortunate that academia is not creating much of content in Afghanistan. And this has been an issue for a long time. If we look into our university systems, to our educational entities, we actually see that we are teaching very old knowledge materials, and we cannot compete. That's the problem, that we can even not compete with our regional universities. So that's an issue which is totally damaging our education system, unfortunately. But apart from that, I think the way businesses should create the right content in Afghanistan, that's not being, that's also a gap in, while there is a gap, there is also opportunity. So for all of the youth who are present here today and others, I think there is a huge potential for you to come up with a business model over content, because content itself is a product. And when something becomes a product, you can easily create a business model around that. So I would say that take this opportunity. And because we have internet, because you have access to the internet, so you cannot limit yourself just to Afghanistan market. While you should create local content, but think of the local content, how it is, you can make it available, or how you can make it based on the demand for the whole world, because you have the power of internet in hand. When you have the power of internet in hand, it means the whole world is your market. So think of this as well. We know that currently a lot of YouTubers are creating the same kind of videos. So they are tours, you are getting the videos of the shops, videos of the environment, videos of the restaurants and everywhere. But clearly, is that all what we need? There is huge potential. There are international news agencies who cannot come to Afghanistan, who resources may not allow them to come to Afghanistan. How you can create content for them? Let's say, when you want to search something about content creation, can you find it in Persian language? Can you find it in Pashto language? All the local languages that we have in Afghanistan, unfortunately, least content, I would say, in the world is in our local languages. So there is huge potential to create the existing content into our local languages. So see what gaps are there, consider it as an opportunity, and create a business model over that. And now, with the advent of AI, you're not alone anymore. So I know content creation requires a lot of efforts, but what now AI, artificial intelligence, can provide you, more than anything else, the content creation has become very easy. So now everyone is 10 times and 100 times of yourself. So the number of tools you know, it means you can multiply yourself by the number of tools that you understand how to operate them. I'm listing few of the major AI tools that can help you in creating content. So PlayHT, which can help you turn any text to voice. Hygiene, which can help you turn any text to video. ChatGPT, of course, everyone knows, that can even write you computer applications and mobile applications. Gravity Write, that's something which can create writings for you. Adobe Fairly, which can enhance any photo the way you want. With Rapid, so this is a very interesting tool. If you want to know something about a video in YouTube, it just picks you the right and the most, it can summarize the video for you. InGuide, which helps you create automatic, let's say, when you share your screen, when you make some educational videos, that helps you with that. And auto draw, you just, if you're not a good drawer, you just make a shape of, let's say, a flower, and you will see that such a beautiful flower will be on the screen by help of AI. And then internet is open, so you can find thousands of tools which can help you in content creation. So to wrap up, find out the gap based on the information that you have from the ecosystem. See which gap you can fill. If you cannot fill it alone, you have the help of other partners in the ecosystem. And then you have the help of AI and internet. And based on that, those gaps, go ahead and create a business model over it. And finally, I'm sharing a few resources. If you want to create a content-based business model and you don't know how to do it, you can go to any of these three resources, Startup Valley, Startup Grind, and the STR. Startup Valley can give you online courses on how to build a business model. The Startup Grind can give you thousands of events every month where you can learn about how to build a business. Especially there are some categories. And then finally, the STR, which is a toolkit which helps you in building a business. Thank you very much. I know my time is limited now. And I'm done, Lemajan. I'm here for any questions if you have.
Thank you so much, Leader Sab. It was It was a very interactive and useful session. I'm sure everyone was excited and they were sending on their answers and interacting with the session, which was very beautiful. Thank you so much. Now I'd like to request Mr. Thiri Wlin, if he could please let us know about APNIC Academy technical trainings and opportunity for young engineers in Afghanistan and APAC. That will be great. Thank you. I would like to invite Mr. Thiri Wlin over to you. I hope we have him. Can someone from the team please confirm if we have him? I think he lost he lost connection.
What was your question, Lima?
Because he didn't started his we were waiting to have his presentation, and so that was basically what I was requesting, if he has if he could have but we could go ahead with questions. Yes. Technical team, can you please take care of this? Thank you. So I will go for some questions. I was recently noticing in the chat that there was a question from someone. I'm sorry if I missed your name. I couldn't take it. If you could please write your name. It was a question for Mr. Wolfgang. The question was, appreciate for your nice speech. Let me ask a simple question related to the risk and challenges of next generation internet or Internet of Things. Seems that there are needs for some security appliance to manage the cybersecurity. I think he meant the cybersecurity of IoT devices. That's what I think he meant.
Yes, you know, I answered already in the chat that the dilemma of all these fantastic developments around the internet is that everything has a flip side. And so that means if we are moving into new applications and new services, Internet of Things, and the same is with AI, we have huge new opportunities, but all this raises also or widens the window of vulnerability for our society. So that means before we move forward, we have always to take an assessment which includes both the risks and the opportunities. You get not the opportunities with risks. So, and the only way you can manage this is to try to maximize the opportunities and to minimize the risks. So there is no silver bullet. You have to live with some risks and threats. But if you know them, if you can identify it, then it's you can manage it better. And if it comes to the question of what are the vulnerabilities if you move to IP version 6 for Internet of Things applications, then the best thing is you look around the community, because the knowledge is distributed. Not everybody knows everything. So, and you have to find the right place where you can get the right knowledge. And in case of IP addresses, the best source is always your regional internet registry. In this case, reach out to APNIC for Asia. They have enough technical experts to explain to you and to give you recommendations how to manage the risks which are linked to the transition from IP4 to IP version 6 and to IoT applications. But I want to add just one point, that there is sometimes a confusion in the language. So that means if you read about technical risks and technical security problems, that's a different thing what politicians in the United Nations discuss around cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is on the behavior of individuals or states. So, and this is related to the misuse of ICT and not of the use of ICT. So that means in this whole field of cybercrime, which is part of cybersecurity. So this is the misuse of IT technology for criminal purposes by individuals or by gangs or by mafia groups or something like that. Even some states behave in a criminal way. And if you speak about cybersecurity in a more military sense or international security, then it's on the behavior of states. So that's not the technology which is insecure. It's the insecure behavior of states, and we see this now in the two big wars we have in the Ukrainian war. So this is a war with drones where IT technology plays an important role. If you look into the Gaza Strip, this is a war with AI. So they identify, even faces of Hamas fighters and try to find them, via drones and to kill them. So this is behavior of states in cyberspace, which are related to cybersecurity. And so my recommendation would be to have a differentiated approach. This you speak about the technical security problems, which are related to new applications and services, and then the bigger security problems we have as a result of misuse and bad behavior of individuals, groups, or states. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answer. Thank you. I think we have someone from the audience that raised his hand. It was Mohibullah Utmankhil. If our technical team could please unmute so he could ask his question.
Thank you, Lema. Thank you, everyone. Specifically, thank you, Mr. Wolfgang, for giving us your time and joining us. I just wanted to have your remarks on the concerning rise of the internet fragmentation and its impacts on the underdeveloped communities such as Afghanistan in terms of inequalities in healthcare access, economic and educational opportunities. And also, there are observations that even some of the supporters of the open and free internet from the democratic countries contribute to the digital divide through their content moderation policies. And additionally, the GDC, the Global Digital Compact's challenge with concerns raised that it may change decision-making heavily towards governments, excluding other crucial stakeholders, which will increase the digital divide more. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Let's go one by one. First thing, internet fragmentation. Here also I think is a confusion in the debate. So we had in the IGF in Addis Ababa,
I think we lost. Hello, I think we lost Mr. Wolfgang, and so until we have him back on board, I would extend. I have a question from the presentation of Mr. Didar. Didar sir, during your presentation, you mentioned about the identifying the gaps in the content and creating contents according to the gaps that exist. I think it will be very useful that you also let the audiences know about how they could identify these gaps. What could be a proper method that they could use to identify these gaps and apply that and be good content creators, have a business out of that. For example, that we see in a lot of countries in the world, we are having now this content creation as a very well-paid job. So that could be an opportunity for our youth to use and enhance their information about this and use it, identify gaps, and create contents to have it as a job for themselves.
All right. So I think the process of finding gaps is always by doing some research. But I think that can start from ourselves. If we are want to learn something, we want to know about something, and we are looking for that content, see the content that you find, it's something which fulfills your need. If there is something that you are missing and you cannot find it, then see how many people are there like you that cannot find the same kind of information. So if you can start from your close surroundings and slowly go ahead and ask from others in the network and even out of your network, you can easily identify what gaps are there. As in this very short poll that we had right now, we find out that academia is an area where content is not created in Afghanistan. So it does not mean that we don't have the capacity of creating content, but maybe people don't see the demand for that clearly. So we need to find those demands, and this can be done through surveys and research and easy research. That's why at the very end, I presented some of the resources which can help you to understand more how to find these gaps. So because my focus was that content is a product, and you can create content-oriented business. So when you create a content-oriented business, it means you need initially to do a research, do some customer development to find out what kind of customer are there and what kind of content product is missing there. So that starts with that. Beside, what are the things on the internet that you don't like? What do you see every day in social media which you don't like? This can also be another source of finding the gap, because when you don't like things, it means that should be replaced with something that you like. When you find that then you can again go ahead to your network and see that how many people are there which don't like the same content and want it replaced with something else. That replacement is actually the need in the gap that you can bring to the market.
Thank you so much, Fahim Didar. As I see, Wolfgang is back with us, yeah. So I think you can continue with the answer. Thank you.
I have no clue what happened this morning with the connections, but anyhow, there were three questions. One was the internet fragmentation, and I started by saying, that there's also big confusion about the understanding what indeed is internet fragmentation, because technically speaking, the internet was fragmented from the very early days. It's a network of network, and you can manage each network individually. So there are 10,000, 100,000 of networks which are connected via the same technical protocols. And insofar, you could say there is, if you take all the network of networks together, we do not have indeed a fragmented network because everybody is using the same protocols. The TCP/IP protocol, we are using HTTP, we need the IP address protocols, BGP. So that means everybody can communicate with everybody on the world on the transport layer, on the technical layer. There's a difference on the application layer. And this is where let's say, internet-related public policy issues come in. And here we have to face the reality that we have 193 member states of the United Nations, and each state has its own sovereignty and makes individual internet laws related to content, related to the digital economy, to data transfer, to cybersecurity. And insofar, we have a fragmented internet on the application layer because each country has an individual legislation. Sometimes they have the same legislations, they learn from each other or just copy the law of the of some neighbors. But some countries have a more restrictive, others have a more free legislation. But I think it's important if you discuss the fragmentation of the internet to have this differentiation between the technical layer, which is a network of networks using the same protocols, which is fortunately not fragmented. ICANN has still the slogan, one world, one internet. And this is true. We have still one world, one internet. But on the application layer, we have this diversity of different national sovereignties. And I think this is a natural process. The problem is how the interlinkage, so that means the fathers of the internet had a dream that the one world, one internet will go to the application layer. So that means the whole same legislation, but this is third layer. And to create some national segment and to introduce new technical protocols for managing their national internet segment. This would be a risk. It would be a danger for the one world, one internet. And fortunately, we have ICANN so far, which has stopped such developments in various regions. You know, if it comes to content moderation, this is also a very old story, and it started with the invention of the printing press, because who is right, who is wrong? So the Catholic Church were in the early days excited about this new technology, the printing press, and they could print the Bible. But then they discovered that some people used the printing press to write pamphlets against the Catholic Church and against the Bible. Then the Catholic Church introduced censorship. And this battle, who is right, who is wrong, what is good content, what is bad content, technology. And now we have the discussion in the internet where we have to decide, what is good, what is wrong content. So this can be done only case by case. And you need an independent third party. If you leave this in the hand of governments, you end up with censorship. If you leave it in the hands of the private sector, then this is private sector censorship. So that means you have to find a balance, and these are independent courts. That's why independent judiciary, independent courts are important element in managing all the conflicts around content. And the final question was about the engagement of stakeholders in the negotiation of the Global Digital Compact. I mentioned that already in my speech. This is really a challenge now. So we had already some progress with the acceptance of the multi-stakeholder approach in the United Nations after the Tunis agenda. But today I see that a lot of governments are not interested to listen to the voice of non-state actors. And this is a new battle ahead of us. And so that means the stakeholders from business, from civil society, from the technical community, academic community have to be united and to raise their voice and to say, you cannot negotiate a compact without us. So here is our proposal, the digital compact we want. So this is a challenge. There is, again, no silver bullet. So that's the task of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much for very good. I was listening and I learned a lot, and it was a very wholesome, and everything was there. And I think Mohibullah Utmankhil was able to get his answer and have the information that he was looking for. Thank you. We have a lot of questions in the chat. I would also encourage everyone, if you want to talk, please raise your hands and we could give you the mic or unmute you in terms of online Zoom, and you could talk also. That would be also a great thing if we could hear your voices. So thank you so much. We have a few questions, one of which are, Mirwais Khan asked, what are some of current trends, news or events that are relevant to your niche or industry, and how you can provide your perspective or analysis on them? It was asked from Mr. Fahim Didar.
So if I understand it correctly, it talks about my niche. So if I say my niche in my target market is helping youth to find jobs and create businesses.
I'm sorry for cutting you out. I think he meant the niche of market, because he asked trends, news or events that are relevant.
Yeah, I think he means exactly my niche or industry, which is helping entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs and youths to just create jobs and create jobs for themselves. So I would say, let's see, the current problem that Afghanistan is facing is the reduce of job rate, the reduction in job rate after the change of government. At the same time, see a huge number of migrants from Pakistan are moved back to Afghanistan. See, these all are newly people which are coming to the economy. So they need to be integrated economically in Afghanistan. Here I see a relevant opportunity for a company like myself to create contents for educating these people how to be integrated into the economy of Afghanistan. And even for some other institution, I think creating contents, trainings to help these people, because some of them don't know anything about Afghanistan. They were born in Pakistan, they were raised in Pakistan, and suddenly now they come to another country. Somehow they're becoming a migrant in their own country. So how to deal with this situation? And of course, most of this is done through content. So I would say this is how we should keep eye on what's happening in the environment, whether it is our local environment, whether it is a virtual environment. So we need to look there. And I see that there are some questions are about different tools which are available in the internet, which helps in content creation, like one brother has suggested about, and Mr. Masood has suggested about GB WhatsApp. I think there are many of them, thousands of them now available, and every day everyone is making different type of AI tools. The other day I was experimenting with what tool where I changed Sono Nigam's voice to my own voice, and then I played that song for my children. That see, so these kind of tools are available. See which one can be used properly in a I would say positive way, because as Mr. Utmankhil and others mentioned, the AI, the generative AI can be very destructive. So we as a users and as content creators make sure that whatever tool we use it responsibly for safety of internet users.
Thank you so much, Didar Sahib, for your answer. We have 10 minutes more and have a lot of questions. One of the questions, I think it is for Mr. Wolfgang. It is about AI advantage versus its disadvantages. So what are the advantage and disadvantages of the AI? And yeah, thank you. Over to you.
Yeah, I think that we have now an AI hype. Everybody is discussing AI, and like I mentioned a little bit earlier, there's also the risk of a confusion, so that you do not really understand anymore what it means if governments start a G7 AI Hiroshima process, or the European Union has an AI Act, and President Biden has adopted an executive order on AI. So all these are documents, 100 and more pages, and it's difficult really to get an overview about what is going on the political level. While in the shadow of these political discussions, you see an enormous wave of new applications, and in particular triggered by this ChatGPT from OpenAI and all the battle we see around the various companies which see, okay, there is money on the horizon, and AI could be a new source of money making. So it's primarily not new. I remember the dot-com boom in the 1990s, when the internet, before the 1990s, before the World Wide Web, the internet was just a small tool for the technical community. But when the World Wide Web was introduced, then people realized, oh, the web can be used to make money. And this has produced the dot-com bubble, which then exploded in the year 2000. But as we have learned, though this was a bubble just for the 90s, the bubble is now part of our digital economy. And so AI was with us, for 20, 30 years. So it's not really new. But as the World Wide Web changed the internet world now, I think the ChatGPT has changed the AI world. And we see, I see the similarity to the dot-com bubble in the 90s, that we have now an AI bubble. So that means a lot of useful applications will appear and will help to solve a lot of problems in the health sector, in the education sector, in the transport sector. So that means you have a broad range of opportunities for application of an AI. And then there will be some overheated applications. This is unavoidable. And the problem for the policymakers is now to figure this out, what is right and what is wrong. So in Europe, we have the so-called risk-based approach that we try to categorize AI applications. So more from the user perspective and not from the provider perspective, and say, what could create really harm, which is, has to be forbidden, because this is against human values. And then we have a second category where we say, this are risky applications, and we need strong rules. Then we have applications with lower risks, where we say, okay, we can have flexible rules. And then applications with no risks, where we can say you can do what you want. So the problem is, if you create such a system with 4 categories, then you have to have somebody who defines, and makes the selection, belongs this to category 1, 2, 3, or 4. So that means you have to create a bureaucracy which has to investigate each application. So that's a delicate issue. That's complex. Nobody has the final answer. And this will keep us busy the next 10 years or even more. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we are getting close to the end of our session. So I think we have 2 more questions, one of them which Mr. Didar answered in the chat, but I think if you could please also say it while answering the next question, it would be really useful, because maybe some of our participants are not able to see the chat, so that will be really useful. We have another question also from Jolie McPhee. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. It says, is the lack of data in habitation AI application, example, voice to text in Afghani? I'm not sure if I personally didn't understand the question, but I'm not sure if Mr. Didar understand the question or not. But over to you, Mr. Fahim Didar, if you could please let us know. And also there was a question about from Mr. Abdul Hafiz. It's about what are the most common type of gaps in content creation?
So I will start with this very last one. I would say in Afghanistan, the main content gap is on the technology and business trends, which is going on in the world. So most of the time we see these information are in English, but I would say that English is not a common language in Afghanistan. So I see that creating content on technology trends and business trends in our local languages and through the mediums available to our local public, that's also a gap which we can use. Maybe some other friends, Mr. Bowery and Mr. Ansari can put more lights. I see that there is a question if data in habitation AI application CGY or text in Afghani. I would say that that is not a gap anymore, because AI, there are a few AI applications. In fact, the AI applications that I shared in my presentation, they can actually create Afghani contents. For example, an Afghan accent. You can just type your, you can just record your own voice, upload it to one of these tools, and that can create any content with your own voice, even your video. That I think is something that AI is taking care of. And then what are some of the current trend news events? Yeah, I think I answered this. I think I'm done with my answers, but I would love Mr. Ansari and Mr. Bowery and other colleagues here who have more wisdom on this subject to share their views.
Thank you so much. We have a few hand raised. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Omar Mansour Ansari if he has a question or would like to add something to what has been discussed. I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lema. I just wanted to share a few thoughts on the localization challenges in Afghanistan. We do face challenges with localizing technology and content in Afghanistan. In the past, I worked on software localization in the country. That was in fact the first thing I started when I completed the university. That was between 2024 and 2004 and 2008. We did a project with Microsoft in IDRC. At that time, we needed local language content to train the software. But unfortunately, we didn't have much, like e-content or digital content. Later on, there was some content created, but that's probably not sufficient to train AI, machine learning, and all these software and technologies that are now people are working on. I'm aware of a project that Achakzai, an Afghan German is working on, and it's like training software on various Pashto accents, so it's able to recognize the voice. But I'm not sure where he is. But currently, he's kind of collecting voices from various regions of Afghanistan. You know, there's so many dialects that requires, you know, software training. So generally, and to conclude this, we require a lot of data localized in content in Pashto, Dari, and other Afghan languages, so that we're able to train the software and train the AI and other technologies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Omar Mansour Ansari, and all of our distinguished speakers. Unfortunately, we lost Terry and Mr. Weisspire, but we had a very insightful and rich discussion today. It was exceptionally rich, and I hope our audience and participants were able to increase, to add something to their knowledge and learn new things from our today's session. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Wolfgang. Thank you, Ahmad Fahim Didar, for your presentation, and thank you for being with us. I think it's lunchtime in Afghanistan, and I would like to say اشتهای خوب، وقت خوب. 1 ساعت ما وقفه نان داریم. 1 ساعت روسته به بیت دلتا یوزه اوگورو یا بل سره. Don't forget that it will be our opening session, and we will be having the opening session of AFNOG, Afghanistan IGF, and we would really appreciate and will be waiting for you to be back and be with us. And so see you in 1 hour. Eat well, enjoy your food, and come back in 1 hour with a new and I'm sure you will learn a lot, and you will be able to see a lot of new experts in the area. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and see you in 1 hour.
Bye-bye.